commence primary ignition.
Chewie, get us out of here!
Fire the emergency booster engines!
We'll be safe enough once we make the jump to hyperspace.
At last, we will review more news on the podcast.
Don't strap yourselves in. I'm going to make a jump to light speed.
Welcome to Star Wars Launchpad, a new kind of podcast experience brought to you by Star Wars Escape Pod. We call this a flashcast. Using the power of AI, we bring you an immersive experience to explore Star Wars news. Full AI disclosure, some details may not be fully accurate. Either way, we hope you enjoy the experimental deep dive ahead with your AI hosts, Dak and Mia.
Okay, buckle up, Star Wars fans. Welcome to the Star Wars Launchpad. We're the place where we take that deep dive into the galaxy far, far away and connect those crucial dots for you.
It's great to be here. Today, we're doing like a full systems check on a really crucial piece of the Star Wars timeline. Star Wars, The Bad Batch. And this isn't just, a quick rewatch. It's more a detailed exploration of how this series just brilliantly bridges that gap between the Clone Wars and the original trilogy. It gives such a unique ground-level view of the Empire's brutal early days.
You're exactly right. Yeah. Our mission today. Unpack the most important nuggets from, the comprehensive rewatch guide we've got. We're focusing on character arcs, the big narrative, and how it all sets the stage for, so much that comes later. So what does this whole series ultimately mean for Star Wars lore for us as fans? Let's blast off.
Okay, let's begin with Season 1. This is where everything kicks off, right in the immediate shadow of Order 66. Clone Force 99, Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, and Crosshair, they're suddenly just thrust into a galaxy that's instantly transformed by Imperial tyranny. And what's truly insightful, right from the start, is how their very defects, their genetic mutations, they paradoxically become their greatest strength.
Right.
While the regular clones were, effectively brainwashed by their inhibitor chips to obey Order 66 without question, the Bad Batch's unique physiology gave them this crucial immunity or resistance.
Yeah, it makes them outliers.
Exactly. The unexpected heroes, really, of this tumultuous post-Order 66 story. And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it immediately highlights a central theme, an enduring one in Star Wars, right? It's that struggle. Nonconformity versus authoritarianism is presented right there in their genes, basically.
Yeah.
And this season also introduces Omega. She's a young, unmodified clone. And she isn't just like a new face. She becomes the real emotional heart of their found family.
Yeah.
Her innocence, her unique perspective, it really grounds their perilous journey.
And then there's a truly pivotal moment very early on. The immediate defection of Crosshair. Our sources really emphasize this. While the inhibitor chip is the main mechanism for Order 66 compliance, Crosshair's conscious decision to align with the Empire even after his chip was eventually removed, that profoundly shifts the narrative.
It really does.
It suggests loyalty, even under all that pressure, can be a choice, not just programming.
Right. Because Tarkin enhances his programming, sure, but the implication is his loyalty. It runs deeper than just manipulation. It definitely foreshadows a much more complex internal struggle and maybe, a redemption arc later.
That raises such an important question about clone free will, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It really deepens our understanding of the clone experience beyond just seeing them as brainwashed soldiers.
Yeah, and as they become fugitives, their struggle, this desperate search for a new place in this changed galaxy, it forces them into mercenary work.
A huge shift.
Oh, absolutely. From elite Republic soldiers to, hired guns, working for morally gray figures like Sid, running into ruthless bounty hunters like Fennec Shand. It just powerfully shows the profound economic, the social upheaval happening across the galaxy after the Republic falls.
It shows you, the listener, those immediate practical consequences of the Empire's iron grip taking hold.
Exactly.
And speaking of critical connections, Season 1 brings back some crucial faces from the Clone Wars, notably Captain Rex.
Ah, Rex. Yeah.
He arrives, and he's understandably alarmed that the Batch hasn't removed their inhibitor chips yet.
Right, he knows the danger.
And he helps them get that vital procedure done on Braca. This really solidifies Rex as a mentor figure, a vital ally for them. He represents that continued, though underground, resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's here we get a glimpse of an iconic future leader, a young Harrison Dula on Ryloth.
Such a great moment.
It's not just an Easter egg, right?
Yeah.
It's a crucial foundational moment.
Definitely.
It shows us how the Empire's brutal brutal occupation directly sparks those nascent flames of resistance in figures who become instrumental later in the Rebel Alliance.
The Bad Batch really does show you the grassroots origins of that rebellion. It's fantastic.
Beyond these familiar faces, though, there's a major revelation that truly elevates the stakes.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is finding out Omega's true nature. We learned she's an unmodified pure clone of Jango Fett.
Wow.
Which makes her the only available source of untainted fresh cloning material.
Okay, so that's huge.
It is. It directly links her to the Empire's ominous future cloning ambitions and that sinister Project Necromancer. It also explains why people like Nala Se and the legendary Cad Bane are after her so intensely.
Right.
This detail isn't just a plot point. It's a fundamental piece of the galactic puzzle, hinting at those dark, long-term Imperial goals.
And Season 1 culminates with a truly profound and devastating symbolic act, the destruction of Kamino. What did that moment truly signify beyond just, a military victory?
Oh, it was brutally symbolic. You're right. Tarkin wasn't just destroying a facility, he was publicly severing the Empire's ties to its clone origins, obliterating Tipoca City.
Wiping the slate clean.
Exactly. It signals this brutal, decisive shift away from elite, purpose-bred clone soldiers towards a conscripted, fear-driven military. It basically erased their past reliance on clones, solidified their path to total authoritarian control.
And it forces the Bad Batch to truly abandon their past identities, right? They really become fugitives then.
Completely. And this event has massive implications for future lore, too. Nala Se is captured, taken to Mount Tantus, which establishes it as the new secret hub for Imperial cloning research, pushing Project Necromancer further into the shadows. And Crosshair. Even though he chose the Empire, his actions during Kamino's destruction, like helping save Omega and AZI-3, it still shows this lingering, almost desperate attachment to the Batch. Sets up his deep internal conflict for later.
Okay, moving into Season 2. The Bad Batch, they're still doing mercenary work, but the Empire's reach is expanding fast. Things get even more complicated. Right away, we see Admiral Rampart covering things up.
Yeah, that calculation.
He decides to conceal the Bad Batch's survival and the real reason Kamino was destroyed. It just shows Imperial control through misinformation, through fear of accountability, even within their own ranks.
They manipulate information constantly to maintain that image of infallible power.
And this immediately raises that important question, that moral dilemma faced by individual clones as the Empire relentlessly dehumanizes them.
We see it so powerfully with Commander Cody, a highly respected figure from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
He ultimately deserts after questioning the Empire's methods. It highlights this growing network of disaffected clones. It reinforces the idea that the Empire's actions are pushing even loyal soldiers to their breaking point. You see the start of this internal moral decay in the Imperial ranks.
And then there's that pivotal two-parter focused squarely on clone rights. We get Senator Rio Chuchi and Captain Rex continuing his efforts.
Right. This is where the Empire's manipulation of public opinion gets really insidious.
Senator Chuchi bravely advocates for clone rights, while Rampart just outright lies about Kamino.
And then Palpatine twists it even further, blames all clones for Rampart's actions just to push for a cheap conscripted army over the more expensive clones.
It's a masterful and truly dark political maneuver.
And Echo's decision during this arc, leaving the Bad Batch to join Rex, that's incredibly significant.
Yeah, why is that so key?
Well, it's not just for his character. It's for the whole resistance movement. It signifies a growing, more organized effort for clone rights, for direct resistance. His departure marks a shift, from the Bad Batch just trying to survive to a broader collective fight for the future of all clones.
The first ripple in a wave of organized defiance.
Exactly.
What's truly chilling here, though, is the introduction of Dr. Royce Hemlock and that sinister Mount Tantus facility itself.
Hemlock, yes.
This is where the Empire's escalating and deeply unethical cloning experiments really start to take shape.
We see the Zillo Beast cloning experiment.
And for those who might not remember, the Zillo Beast is that massive, nearly invulnerable creature the Jedi encountered back in the Clone Wars.
Right. Cloning it here isn't just a nostalgic nod. It's chilling foreshadowing for the Empire's real aim, mastering life itself for their own nefarious purposes. It leads directly to their later, more complex genetic manipulations like Project Necromancer.
And this directly connects to Crosshair's harrowing arc, doesn't it? He's captured, imprisoned at Tantus.
Yeah, linking his personal journey, his doubt, his loyalty directly to this terrifying Imperial project. His presence there gives us this internal window into the horrific abuses unfolding.
Amidst all this darkness, the season does give us that brief, almost utopian moment on Pabu, a tranquil island.
A little bit of peace.
But that peace is just brutally shattered by Crosshair's desperate warning. So what does this temporary haven and its shattering mean for them?
Pabu represents that deep longing for normalcy, right? A life away from constant conflict. But Crosshair's urgent warning, the Empire is looking for Omega, the discovery of the Advanced Science Division, the ASD, it shatters that fragile peace. It forces the batch to actively engage. They can't just hide anymore.
Yeah, the fight comes to them.
And the season culminates in just a devastating turning point, a profound emotional blow. The stakes get raised to their absolute highest.
We witness Tech's heartbreaking sacrifice during the escape from Ariadu, a moment that really hammers home the high personal cost of their fight.
So tough to watch.
Then, Sid's cold betrayal leads to Omega's capture, her transport to Tantus. It confirms the Empire's deep, specific interest in her unique genetics for Project Necromancer.
No doubt about it now.
And just as the season ends, boom, we meet Emery Carr,
who reveals herself as Omega's genetic sister. Just adds this incredible new layer of complexity to the whole cloning narrative.
Yeah.
Forces us to rethink Omega's entire origin.
Okay, and now into the final season. The Bad Batch on a desperate mission. A true fight for survival, for freedom. It kicks off with Omega's incredible resilience while she's imprisoned at Tantus, and her unexpected, uneasy alliance with Crosshair.
Right, she uses her ingenuity, works with Nalase, even Emery, slowly building trust. She even befriends Batcher, the Lurka Hound.
And then that daring escape with Crosshair, a harrowing journey.
Yeah, it emphasizes how their forced proximity rebuilds that trust and really highlights Crosshair's slow, agonizing shift back towards his found family, a pivotal step in his redemption.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole arc explicitly links Omega's unique genetics to Palpatine's ultimate, horrifying goal, immortality through cloning.
Exactly. Project Necromancer. It aims to replicate a subject's M count, their connection to the Force, basically Force potential.
A concept first mentioned in comics, but really fleshed out here.
Right. And Omega's unique blood is indispensable for this. It directly links the show to the Star Wars sequel trilogy and Palpatine's eventual unthinkable return.
It provides that missing piece of the puzzle, reveals how his cloning efforts even began in earnest after the Republic fell. A truly chilling detail for the lore.
Definitely.
And then a fascinating and darker development, the introduction of those chilling CX clone assassins, the Clone X program.
Ugh, yeah. These CX clones are regular clones whose identities are systematically stripped, reprogrammed to make them perfect, ruthless assassins. It highlights the Empire's complete perversion of its former soldiers, just turning them into weapons.
And speaking of Force connections, we see Asajj Ventress arrive.
Ventress.
Yeah.
Which was a surprise.
Yeah. And she provides this crucial, deeper explanation of the M count and Force sensitivity. Her presence adds even more weight to the cloning narrative.
And underscores the Empire's ultimate sinister goal. Not just galactic control, but controlling the Force itself. Weaponizing it. Engineering it.
Which raises that important question about moral compromise, right? The Marauder is destroyed, Omega's captured. The Batch is truly at their lowest, forced to make a deal with the devil.
The destruction of their ship, it's symbolic. It severs their last real home, forces them to confront their new reality.
And Omega's self-sacrifice to protect Pabu. It shows her immense growth, her deep care for her found family, willing to sacrifice everything.
Yeah, she's really matured. And their morally complex alliance with Rampart to get Tantus' location. It just underscores their sheer desperation. They're willing to work with a hated enemy to save Omega. A desperate gamble, highest stakes imaginable.
And then we arrive. The climactic final confrontation at Mount Tantus, everything comes to a head, an explosive conclusion.
We witness this multifaceted assault, including freeing the Zillo Beast.
Which goes on a rampage, creates crucial chaos, divutes Imperial forces.
And Nalase, her ultimate sacrifice, heroically destroying the facility's data.
Which temporarily cripples Project Necromancer, right? And explains why Palpatine's cloning efforts weren't immediately successful after the Republic fell. It wasn't easy to replicate.
Exactly. And then, in a fascinating shift of Imperial priorities, Tarkin makes that pivotal decision. Reallocate Tantus' funding directly to Project Stardust.
The Death Star.
The Death Star. It illustrates the Empire's strategic shift, from esoteric cloning to immediate, overwhelming military dominance. Shows where their true power priorities lay.
Hemlock is finally defeated. The Bad Batch escapes to Pabu. They find a temporary fragile peace.
And what's truly fascinating here is the nuanced ending for the core characters. And most importantly, Omega's profound future.
The Bad Batch does find that peace on Pabu, finally letting them rest after years of running.
Yeah. But Omega's growth, it's highlighted by her choice, years later, to leave Pabu and join the growing rebellion.
It's not forced on her, it's a conscious act of agency, signifying her deep commitment to the larger fight for freedom.
It's a powerful moment. Shows her coming into her own, choosing to fight for a cause bigger than herself, just like the family who raised her.
And Echo and Emery's crucial decision to help other clones.
Yeah, that reinforces the powerful theme of collective action, the enduring fight for justice for all clones. Provides a hopeful note that extends beyond just Clone Force 99's family.
It shows the legacy of the clones will continue to shape the galaxy.
Definitely, wow.
What an incredible journey we've taken on this Star Wars launchpad. From the immediate fallout of Order 66 through their struggles for survival, their fight for clone rights, to that ultimate confrontation with Project Necromancer, the Bad Batch truly solidifies its indispensable place in the Star Wars saga.
It meticulously fills crucial gaps in the lore. From explaining the Empire's complete military transition away from clones to laying the foundational groundwork for the cloning efforts we see in The Mandalorian and the sequel trilogy. It reminds us that even at the darkest points, that spark of rebellion and the unbreakable power of found family, it can endure, it can thrive.
Absolutely. And now for one final thought for you, our listener, to mull over. Given everything Clone Force 99 went through, the personal sacrifices they made, and Omega's ultimate choice to join the rebellion, what does our story tell us about what it truly takes to fight for freedom in a galaxy far, far away, especially when the odds seem completely insurmountable?
A question worth pondering deeply.
Thanks for joining us on this Star Wars Launchpad.
Until next time.
This Star Wars Launchpad was brought to you by Star Wars Escape Pod.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
This AI experimental show we call a Flashcast has been brought to you by the podcast Star Wars Escape Pod. With AI being harnessed in all things across the galaxy, this is just a fun way we've used it to bring some Star Wars joy, news, and headlines to you ad-free as always. Consider subscribing to this show for more. Follow our main podcast with humanoids only over at Star Wars Escape Pod. We're currently found on YouTube, X, and Blue Sky using the handle at SW Escape Podcast. Check the description for relevant links and the sources for your news this week. Consider dropping a kind review for the show, reviewing any important facts for yourself, and sharing this with a friend. We hope you enjoyed the episode. This is Star Wars Launchpad, signing off. May the Force be with you.